Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 1131, 1131, Thursday, May the 14th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, what a day we had yesterday. And it continues. It's almost every day we get more bombshells dropped, which sort of fits into my theory that I kind of stumbled onto a couple of weeks ago when I said that likely the technique that Barr is going to use along with Durham is, rather than try to drop gigantic nuke on everybody a couple months down the road, is that they will probably start dropping mini nukes all along the way, so that when they finally come out with the big bomb and Durham starts indicting people, it won't be such a shock to the system. People will almost be expecting indictments because of these sort of daily or every other day, every 2 days, we get these documents dropped which show what happens. Now, obviously, because of the Michael Flynn case, there being sort of a sense of urgency because of, he was getting ready to be sentenced. Then he decides to withdraw his guilty plea, and this kind of throws that into chaos. So I think that the reason that we're getting the document drops regarding Flynn is simply because the DOJ is watching Sidney Powell defending her client, and they realize that they're holding information that she should have to help her client. And they realize what the DOJ did to Flynn was wrong because they're holding that evidence. So I think that the situation and the reason we're getting some of these document drops right now are because of this sort of sense of urgency that the DOJ was feeling, because they didn't want to let the sentencing with Michael Flynn go ahead, or have the judge not go along with his wanting to reverse his guilty plea or what have you. So I think that they felt compelled to act, that they needed to act to avoid an injustice being done to Michael Flynn. So I think that was what was driving, that is what has been driving a lot of these document drops in the last 2 to 3 weeks regarding the Michael Flynn case. But it's part of the overall larger criminal conspiracy, and I think that there's still going to be continue to be more information that's going to be released again to try to prepare people rather than hit them with one over the head with a 50-pound mallet, to just kind of tap on them occasionally to wake them up as to what has been going on and what did go on as a part of the coup effort. So yesterday morning, Wednesday morning, Richard Grinnell, the ODNI, presented to Senators Grassley and Johnson a list of 20 names of the individuals who have requested unmasking of Michael Flynn. 4 of the names are redacted, so we got 16 out of 20. The other 4 redacted, I'm not sure why. Could have something to do with they're a part of Durham's investigation. Their names haven't come up yet. Maybe they don't want to tip these people off or something like that. I don't know, but for some reason 4 of the names we are redacted, but the other 16 names of individuals who requested unmasking of Michael Flynn were released to Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley yesterday morning, and it didn't take them long, just a couple of hours, sort of mid-afternoon. They provided these names, these 16 names, to Catherine Herridge of CBS News. Now, that move by Catherine Herridge to go over to CBS looks like a pretty wise move. What do you think Catherine Herridge was thinking? Because now they can't just say, oh, that's Fox, that's the right-wing conspiracy media. No. This was CBS reporter Catherine Herridge. And now you're going to have Catherine Herridge, who's been reporting on this story, who's an excellent journalist who tells the truth, has been on this Spygate story since day one. So she's going to be over there at CBS reporting on this story, and it's going to make it very difficult for some of these left-wing media outlets to just play the right-wing Republican conservative media, Fox News media, that's pushing this conspiracy theory, because Catherine Herridge is probably going to be the person who they start giving the information to first, so that she can break these stories, because she's breaking these stories for CBS. It seems like a tiny little detail, but Barr and Durham and Trump and the people around them, Meadows, who's now his chief of staff, understand very well how the media narrative works, how it's used as a weapon. And so what you're seeing here is a little defense, a little bit of strategy on the part of Trump, Barr, Durham, and Meadows, and Grinnell, because they all understand that how this is done. It's like I said many months ago. It's not so much unraveling the crime and the coup. It's how they do it. It's how they go about making it known to the general public, to people around the country and around the world, as to what did happen. And the media, how this is done through the media, is going to be a very important part of how that's communicated. So they're thinking about their own media strategy. Because remember, our adversaries focus largely on a media strategy. The FBI was using a media strategy, as was the intelligence community and the Obama administration. The media strategy was probably just as important as all the other parts of the operation. And so Barr and Durham and Trump and Meadows and these guys, they understand the media strategy. There has to be a media strategy when you're going to drop all this information and expose the truth. You have to think about how you're going to do that, and that's going to be a critical part of making sure that when Durham and Barr drop the hammer on these people, that it is understood why these charges are coming down on these high-level officials, and what it all means. And so this is all part of, I think, a strategy, an overall strategy, because they already know what they got. Durham and Barr and Trump and Meadows, these guys, they've all been briefed. Durham has briefed Barr, Barr's briefed Trump. They already know what they got. Believe me. The only thing they're doing now is figuring out, putting their cases together. That's why Durham, in the last couple of weeks, has been bringing in prosecutors, high-level prosecutors, the top prosecutors from various districts across the country, to come in and handle various aspects of this case, because there are so many different parts of it within this vast conspiracy that they'll need independent prosecutors working certain parts of it. One prosecutor will not be enough. Just like Mueller had like 22, 25, 30, whatever, different prosecutors working various parts of what he was doing. The same is true with Durham. There's going to have to be multiple prosecutors working various parts of the conspiracy. And of course, putting that all together, that's the job of John Durham and Attorney General Barr. And something tells me they're up to the job. So we found out that among the main unmaskers of Michael Flynn was Mr. Potato Head, John Brennan. Not to mention the former director of the Federal Bureau of I'm With Her, the despicable, slimy, weaselly Jimmy the Weasel Comey. Not to mention Skeletor, Samantha Power. And Samantha Power's got a big problem. She's got a lot of problems. One of them is that she testified under oath that she did not recall, as one of the unmaskings of the many unmaskings. She did hundreds of unmaskings. And she said in her testimony that not all of those were her unmaskings, that someone must have been unmasking under her name. Well, I'm sure that right now they're looking into that, trying to get to the bottom of that. But in that same inquisition, Skeletor, Samantha Power, said that she did not recall Michael Flynn being one of the names of the people she unmasked, and she also said that she was not the one who provided the unmasked conversation transcript to the media. That's her story, and she's sticking to it for now, but she ought to lawyer up. Now let's remember that Skeletor is married to Cass Sunstein. Cass Sunstein authored a book about 10 or 15 years ago where he actually advocates in the book, in fact that's what the whole book is about, advocates for the deep state lying to us. Just lying to us, just telling us nothing but full-blown lies every day because he thinks it will make a much better country if American people just believe what the government wants them to believe, that things will go much more smoothly. If the government can just lie to us every day, tell us what we want to hear, and keep all the nasty, dirty stuff that they do out of the sunlight, and that way we'll all just walk around happy and stupid. That's the worldview of people like Skeletor and her sick husband, Mr. Sunstein. We also had the unwitting idiot, unwittingly? That's right, Jimmy Clapper. Jimmy, the unwitting idiot Clapper, also multiple unmaskings, 2 on the same day of Michael Flynn. And of course, the 2 that struck out to me that really surprised me was Burisma Joe. Burisma Joe Biden. Now here he was just one day prior going on the ABC show in the morning with Stephanopoulos. And Stephanopoulos, to his credit, pushed Biden when he first said, so what do you know about this investigations into Michael Flynn? And Biden's like, oh, I don't know anything about that. Then Stephanopoulos goes, wait a minute, you were in that January 5th meeting where they talked about it. And then he goes, oh, well, I thought you were talking about prosecutions. Investigation. Yeah, I'm aware that they were going to do an investigation, but that's all I know. Uh-oh. Bad news for Burisma Joe. Because now we know that he did a lot more than just sit in on a meeting where he learned about them wanting to investigate Flynn. We now know that his signature is on a unmasking request for Michael Flynn. Biden is done. He is not going to be able to overcome this. Because now, and believe me, there's a lot more stuff coming out. And now, as this stuff comes out, it's going to have Biden's name attached to it. What did you know and when do you know it? He's already lied and didn't handle it very well when asked about the fact that he was a part of being in that meeting on January 5th, and now we find out that he unmasked. And the media is not going to quit asking the question. They have no choice. They're not going to quit asking the question, and he's not going to be able to shake this off because as more and more information comes out, as we get deeper and deeper into the uncovering of the coup, and he's up to his eyeballs in it, he's just going to continue to be peppered day after day after day about what he knew and when he knew it. This is the death knell for Biden, and he will not be able to handle this. He just doesn't have the stuff. He's not there. So this is this is going to take Biden out. It will wear on him until he'll eventually be out of it. Now, you can bet, in fact, we've already seen the surrogates for the Democrats out there trying to defend Biden, but it's indefensible, and everyone knows it. So it's not going to work, and ultimately people are going to want to hear from him, and he's going to have to tell some truth, and he can't. He can't tell the truth. He has to continue to lie. They all must continue to lie. They can't come out and tell the truth. That would indict them. That would indict themselves. What are they going to do, come out and sign a confession statement? They might as well. Might as well go into Durham's office and just spill their guts. So they have no choice but to keep lying. That's the position they're in. They've put themselves in a position, all these people, and especially Biden and Obama. Now, what Biden and Obama are going to try to do when eventually the noose is slipped around their neck and begins to tighten, they're simply going to say, hey, we were just acting on the intelligence we were getting. We count on these professionals at the FBI and CIA to give us good information. We were just doing what we thought was right to defend the country. We were doing our jobs or whatever. Unfortunately, we were deceived by some crooked cops. In other words, Biden and Obama are going to be forced eventually in the not too distant future to throw Comey, Brennan, Clapper, and all the rest under the bus. It'll be their neck or the other guy's necks. And believe me, Obama and Biden are going to try to save their necks. They will be forced to turn on the Jimmy the Weasel, the unwitting idiot Clapper, Mr. Potato Head, and all the rest. So right now, as you can see, these Democratic operatives out there trying to defend Biden, and believe me, they're looking really bad trying to do it. I mean, they're looking bad. There is no defense for it. And Biden has to come out and explain it. Everybody understands very clearly. He was in that January 5th meeting. We know what was discussed. Biden can't sit there and say, oh, I don't know. He was there. He absolutely knows. And now he's got to explain why he unmasked Flynn. Now, at the same time, I can assure you that you got the power brokers of the Democratic National Committee down in the bowels of the DNC pulling their hair out and saying, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, this is not going to work. There's no way Biden is going to survive this. More and more shit's going to come out. And if anything, we have to sacrifice Biden and throw him under the bus. We may have to throw Obama under the bus with him to save the party. We have to try to distance ourselves. So you will begin to see Democrats, believe it or not, you're actually going to see in the next few weeks, possibly months, but probably not that long, the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic politicians literally having to distance themselves from Biden and Obama. Just watch and see. So they're probably down there in the bowels of the DNC right now with the power brokers trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do, because now they got a big problem. Because obviously, they in one hand, it's good for them because they needed a reason to force Biden out because they know he's going to get his ass kicked because they know he's not up to the job. But that presents another problem. Once you do that, then the Bernie fans come out and say, okay, well, Bernie was the next man up, so he's our guy, right? And the DNC is going to say, wrong. We don't like Bernie, so he's out too. We're going to come up with the nominee at the convention, and that's likely going to be the Rotten Reverend. And but she's up to her eyeballs in this too, and that may prevent her from being able to get the nod. They may have to go to Klobuchar or Warren or someone. I don't know who the hell they'll try to throw in there, but they'll throw whoever they have to. They know they're going to get their ass kicked. They're just trying to hold on to the Congress. They know they're going to lose to Trump. They're just trying to not. They're just trying to make sure that the voter turnout on the Democratic side is not so low that they just get smeared. But it's going to happen anyway, because by November, the whole Spygate story by then will have been unraveled, and the Democrats will be in such low spirits that they're just simply going to stay home. They're just going to be, demoralized essentially, and it's going to be a huge landslide victory both for the president and for the Republicans in Congress. They're going to take back the House. They're going to pick up seats in the Senate. This is going to lead to a massive tidal wave of misery for the Demo-Commie Party because of the acts that they engaged in. They tried to take out the king. They failed. And you know what the old saying is, if you go for the king's head, you better not miss. And they missed big time. And the king is pissed. And he's not going to let them off the hook. And you can bet that Trump and his campaign are going to remind you every single day that Biden unmasked Flynn. And they're going to be saying, what did Biden know and when did he know it? It's going to be dogging him every single day. Now the demo commies have to figure out what they're going to do. This makes him pretty much unelectable. It's just going to beat on him and wear on him every day, and they'll never stop asking the question. And you still have the Tara Reid out there challenging Biden right now to a polygraph contest. She's challenging him to a polygraph contest. She said, hey, I'll go take a polygraph. How about you, Joe? So Tara Reid isn't going away either. Not to mention the hearings for Burisma stuff begins next month with Ron Johnson's committee. They're going to be dragging in all these people that were involved in that. And Biden's up to his eyeballs in that as well. So they know what's coming for Burisma Joe, and they know that they have to get him out of there. The problem is, what are they going to do about the Bernie supporters? Because if they don't give the nod to Bernie, the Bernie bros are going to be furious if they pull Biden, but then bypass Bernie to go to Klobuchar or the Rotten Reverend or whoever. So they have got a huge problem on their hands right now at the DNC, as the tidal wave of correction is coming their way, and it is a tsunami of biblical proportions. But probably the most interesting unmasking, I thought, was that of Dennis McDonough, Obama's chief of staff. And even more interesting is that the day that he did the unmask request on Flynn was January the 5th of 2017. The very day of that infamous meeting where they put together the plot to take down Flynn and to make sure to withhold information about their investigation to Trump and his incoming administration. So here we have Obama's chief of staff requesting Flynn be unmasked on that very day, which now tells us how Obama knew to tell Sally Yates about what was in that call transcript. He had his chief of staff request the transcript. And that's likely because Obama was told by either Brennan or Clapper or Rice or someone, one of those top tier people, about what was going on. So he probably picked up the phone, called his chief of staff and said, "Hey, Dennis, go over and do an unmasking request on that transcript for Flynn Kislyak phone call and bring it to me." In other words, the directive to McDonough had to come from Obama himself. And McDonough is going to find himself staring across the table at Mr. Durham, who's going to directly ask him, "Did Mr. Obama direct you to go get the unmasked transcript of Flynn?" That's what's going to happen. Uh-oh, bad news for Barry O. Obama. Now, the Biden unmasking timing is pretty interesting, too, because the Biden unmasking, the day he requested the unmasking, was the very day that David Ignatius wrote that piece in the Washington Post, January 12th of 2017, suggesting that there was something bad going on between the Flynn and Kislyak phone call. So both of these guys did these unmaskings, Obama and Biden, on days that were very pivotal days in the Flynn saga. And Durham is not an idiot. He can put these pieces of the puzzle together. There's a lot of people are going to have to answer a lot of tough questions. And it is going all the way up to Obama and Biden. We also had George Papadopoulos tweeting out right after that also on that list was the U.S. ambassador to Italy. He also had a very keen interest. We also had, right after this was released, Biden's rapid response guy, this Andrew Bates guy, comes out and puts up a nasty tweet attacking Catherine Herridge. But then he pulled it about 15 minutes later. Fortunately, enough people grabbed it, and it's available for us to all see, even though he's now deleted it. And shortly after that, we saw that Obama, Subpoena Obama, is now trending in the top 3 over on Twitter. Subpoena Obama. Oh yeah, he's going to get his subpoena all right. So is Biden, sooner than later. But we still don't have the big question, right? Which is, who leaked it? Who leaked it? Well, it appears now, and if we go back to the original story, we were told that it was a senior administration official. A senior administration official was the source for the leaked transcript. And here we have a handful of senior administration officials. Question is, which one of them, or could it have been someone like Ben Rhodes? Could it have been Valerie Jarrett? It could have been someone not on this list, but someone within. It was someone within Obama's inner circle, it looks like. Or it was someone in the FBI, and Obama directed it, or approved of it, or knew about it, that they leaked this out. So remember, that is leaking that Flynn Kislyak phone call, is a federal crime which carries a 10-year prison sentence. And you know what? John Durham knows who that was. He already knows. He's keeping that in his pocket. And he will let us know at the appropriate time who it was. Because they are absolutely looking at a federal crime. Now, there was some other news yesterday of note. So yesterday we had the Republicans, the GOP, winning 2 big House races in the special elections. The first one they won out in California. That was the Katie Hill seat. And that was a fairly solid victory there, won by 12 points. The Republican won by 12 points to take the Katie Hill seat. And then, of course, you have to keep in mind that both the Right Reverend Clinton and Obama himself campaigned for the Democrat in that race. We also had the Wisconsin special election to fill Sean Duffy's seat. And, of course, the Republican there, of course, it's a solid Republican district, so he won easily. That's the 7th district of Wisconsin. So the Republicans pick up 2 House seats yesterday in special elections, and the one in Cali, 12 points is pretty strong considering we're talking Cali, and that's kind of a mixed district. It can kind of flip between red and blue, and of course it went red because of the ballot harvesting that they did out in California. I think that those 8 or 9 Republican seats that we lost in California in the week or two after the election, where the Republican was ahead on election night, but then 2 weeks later, after they harvested all those ballots, the Democrats won those seats. I think that that's going to be reversed in the upcoming election. We also have a brand new poll showing that Trump is leading 52 to 45 in the swing states. And believe it or not, this is from a Commie News Network poll. This is CNN's own poll, admitting that Trump is winning, beating Biden handily, 52-45 in the swing states. Now, at this time in 2016, Hillary was up by 15-20 points. We also have a Harris poll that shows Trump at almost his highest approval rating ever. This Harris poll putting Trump at 51% approval rating right now. This poll was just conducted 48 hours ago. And the highest he's ever been was 52. So he's only 1 percentage point away. So Trump right now at 51%. I mean, Obama was easily reelected at 47%. This shows you the trend. Trump winning so big in these swing states. He's winning now, his approval rating is 4 points higher than Obama's was. And it's going to go higher once the entire coup plot is exposed and the economy starts to come back in the late summer, early fall. You are going to see probably Trump get in the 55, 56, 57 range. He's going to win in a massive landslide, and the Democrats are going to be completely defeated and demoralized, and many of them going to jail on top of that. Mr. Schiff. Good news. Paul Manafort has been released from prison. He's now home. And he will spend the rest of his time, I believe he'll still be probably under some sort of house arrest, but at least he's home, he's out of prison, and it's over for Manafort, and I think that's very good news. He probably was involved in some shady dealings, he's a lobbyist, but quite honestly, he was abused. That man was absolutely abused. And all of these people, Flynn, Gates. Now, Gates is a slime ball. He not only was screwing Manafort, he was screwing everybody. That guy's just a dirtball. So he rolled over on Manafort. I mean, this guy's a dirtball. I hope Gates stays in jail. But Manafort, not so much. I'm glad to see he's home. But Papadopoulos, Flynn, Roger Stone, all these guys need to be compensated and they need to be cleared. And I believe at the end of the day, they all will be, when the entire coup plot is exposed for what it was. You know, Marie Yovanovitch is very, very lucky. She's very lucky that the information that came out yesterday, thanks to John Solomon and his investigation, she's very, very lucky of all the news that came out basically less than 24 hours later, before his story had a chance to really break major headline news because of the getting the names of the people who unmasked Flynn. But very, very detailed story in Just the News, John Solomon's site, where he exposes that Yovanovitch lied. Does that surprise anybody? Yes, Yovanovitch lied in her testimony. She, of course, testified against Trump in the impeachment hoax, Ukraine hoax. And Just the News, of course, it's an incredible article. I mean, you got to read it. Just go over to Just the News and read it. It's a major headline news story on Just the News. Read that. You just are not going to believe it. How incredibly dishonest she was in her testimony about what she knew about Burisma, this company, Blue Star, which is a Democratic-affiliated company, and all this other stuff. I mean, you got to read it. It's just amazing that she sat there and lied the way that she did, both lies of omission and just straight-out lies about what she knew about Biden and Burisma. She certainly didn't mention anything in the hearings that she met directly with a Burisma representative just 45 days before the 2016 election. She had multiple meetings with multiple people about Burisma, about the problems that there were, yet in her hearings, she pretended to have very little knowledge of any of it. Yet she was up to her eyeballs in the efforts to cover up the corruption by Biden and his kid and Burisma and the whole 9 yards. It's all right there in that story by John Solomon. The evidence is in. He's got the evidence. And the investigation in Ukraine continues, and that includes Joe Biden as well. And now this information has come out. You can bet that Ron Johnson is getting every bit of these documents from John Solomon as he's reading the story as well. And you can bet that that's going to be explosive when those hearings go down. And I hope they're done publicly. And it's bad news for Yovanovitch. And I expect that there'll be a criminal referral on her for perjury or lying to Congress multiple times, multiple counts of lying to Congress, and her testimony and her effort to join the impeachment coup effort against Trump. We knew she was a dirty dog. We knew she was a dirty dog. And it's a good thing that they got rid of her, but way too late. Devin Nunes appeared on Lou Dobbs yesterday, and he reminded us that it's actually much, much worse than what we're seeing right now. Keep in mind, when Nunes came out and had that press conference after he went into the skiff, what we're seeing right now is the list of names of Obama administration officials who unmasked Flynn. But remember, as Nunes told us, and as he reminded Lou Dobbs, it wasn't just Flynn. It was Trump. Trump personally was unmasked, along with nearly his entire team. It wasn't just Flynn. It was Trump and everyone on his transition team. All of them unmasked. Lots and lots of unmasking. Hundreds and hundreds of unmaskings of Trump and his campaign, particularly during the transition period. That hasn't even come out yet. This is just Flynn's unmaskings. And we're going to learn also, I saw in another story, that we just got the unmaskings that from 2016. We're going to find out that they were unmasking Flynn as early as 2014. There's even more Flynn unmaskings that we haven't even seen yet, that Durham obviously has in his possession. But it's the whole Trump campaign team, including Trump himself, that was unmasked, and Durham's got it all. We know it because Nunes saw it, and he's made criminal referrals as well. We also have Adam Housley, the FoxNews.com reporter, saying that he's been told by his sources that he was told that looking at after this release of the Flynn unmaskings, he was told by his source that to give him an idea of how bad this is going to get, he was told that he was standing. He said it's like, consider yourself as standing in the foyer of a 20-room mansion. You are in the foyer of a 20-room mansion. That's how bad what else that's coming is. Prepare yourself, my friends. I told you it was coming. Then we have Papagalopoulos tweeting out that Downer and Mifsud are next. Yes, that's right. We still don't know who put these two characters into the game. But somebody put Mifsud and Downer into the game. Papagalopoulos says that information is known by Durham. He knows. And it won't be long until we'll be finding out about that too. And that's going to be a major, major bombshell. I mean, it had to be, maybe it was British intelligence on behalf of the CIA. Maybe it was Halper, that's his buddies. Could have been Clinton, her campaign. Could have been the FBI. But it's one of those groups. And regardless of which one it is, it's all bad because they were all working together. Remember that. These people are all working together. They're not separate groups, and you can throw the media into that pie. Here's a startling statistic that makes this even more damning with the Flynn unmaskings. 37 of the 49 unmaskings on Flynn occurred before the Flynn-Kislyak phone call. 37 of 49 occurred before the Flynn-Kislyak phone call. So they can't use the excuse that, well, yeah, we suspected something with Flynn and Kislyak. Russian collusion. Nope, because 37 of the 49 were before that call even happened. Oh my goodness. That's bad news. That is very bad news for the deep state. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And Obama and Biden, they're up to their eyeballs in it. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. You guys have a good night. See you. Bye.